Welcome to another Vectra podcast. Today we have some stories from our support team. I'm joined by Gina. Gina, want to say
Hello,
hello?
everyone. Oh, yep,
There you
I
go.
did the thing.
She's a great technical support engineer on our support team. And this is of a series that we're doing on the Vectra podcast channel where we want to just highlight the great people behind Vectra, the very smart, intelligent, and amazing people like Gina. So Gina and I are just going to have a conversation. We're just going to get to know each other a little bit more and, really highlight her great expertise. So you ready, Gina?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Awesome. Okay, Gina, let's start off with just telling me a little bit more about yourself, such as your background in cybersecurity, where you're from, or if you have some fun fact or hobby you'd like to share.
So I have been here with Vector for almost 3 years.
Mhm.
I have been a Linux administrator, Windows administrator, Atlassian administrator, and have always had cybersecurity on the mind, even if it wasn't on the paper, given the
Mhm.
fact that I was hosting or managing, customer-facing sites and products.
Yeah.
So obviously the focus got a little bit more focused, for lack of a
Mhm.
better term, when it came to cybersecurity when I joined here at Vectra. So, and it was a natural fit, and I like solving problems. So that really is where
Mhm.
we're happy here. Where I'm from, that's a fantastic question. It's very well rounded. Washington by way of Wyoming, by way of Texas, by way of Wisconsin.
Oh.
So I've been around a few times, once or twice
Mhm.
here or there. And the fun fact about me is, as much as I am a fan of computers and whatnot, I also am a big fan of combat robotics, what most people would know as battle
Oh.
bots.
Wow. Do
Yeah.
you build your own robots then?
I build my own RC cars. There's no place
Mhm.
safe here to build a combat robot. And
Oh.
as such, I have not decided to put together something that could seriously injure anybody within its vicinity. Seemed like a terrible idea, so I've not done it, but I've thought about it a couple few times.
When did you start this hobby? That sounds like something that it starts very early, I guess, because you have to learn a lot about it, right?
It depends on what part of the hobby. I mean, the BattleBots thing, when they had it on Comedy Central, I'm dating myself, um, was a little bit more campy and fun, but
Hmm.
the revisit or the resurface of it, things got really serious. And that's when I started paying a lot more of attention because they started talking about LiPo batteries and brushless motors
Oh,
and
wow.
impact considerations and chassis designs. And I just sat there with a spoon, like, please, can I have more? Thank you.
Oh
I
my God,
loved it.
that's a great hobby and that's very, very unique. I think you're the first person I've ever met with that hobby, so it's pretty awesome.
So yeah, I build relatively harmless RC cars to go play with, take a
Mhm.
walk and then, find a nice dirt patch and goof around for a little bit and then,
Yeah.
walk it back home. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. My next question for you is just sort of to just describe your day to day at Vectra and if there are any parts of your day that you find the most fulfilling.
So this is something I get asked in interviews a lot is
Mm,
what does the day-to-day look like for a support engineer? And I just smile and flip a coin and go, that's what it is. I don't know how to describe the day-to-day when I don't
mm.
know what's going to happen. And
Oh.
that might be one of my favorite things for myself, my brain is what am I going to fix or look at or focus on today? What's going to
Hmm.
be the thing?
Hmm.
So I don't have a typical day. Nothing is really rote. It's
Hmm.
catch it as it comes in and go, well, that's something. That is something we should investigate for sure.
Yeah.
So, and that falls into my favorite part is I'm a problem solver, puzzle fixer. And,
Hmm.
it's not I don't ever really get bored ever. I'm just like, okay, that that problem's resolved. I am happy. They're happy. Let's do it again. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that Sanjay and Felipe, when I did the interviews with them, they also mentioned that they love problem solving and that they couldn't really even describe their day to day other like, like checking emails and tickets, but like everything is just different every single day.
yeah, it's there's nothing rote, and that's really, trying even when performing interviews. And I'm just like, there's you're not going to get a day to day.
Yeah.
Not not here. There's too many variables. Our product is too complex,
Mm-hmm.
and customers' networks and needs are too complex to be able to put into a pattern. It's you
Mm-hmm.
just don't know what cross section of what isn't going to work on that specific day
Mm-hmm.
in that specific integration of whatever it may be. And you're like, pull it in, read it, and go, that's going to be interesting. Let's investigate. Let us begin the dig and see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we're kind of talking about customers here, do you happen to have any like interesting stories or fulfilling moments that you had with the specific customer?
I have a fantastic tale,
Okay,
and
let's hear it.
it's it is wiring woes. Anybody who's listening to this podcast who has stepped into a data closet and looked and went, I found a spider nest. Well, that's basically what I found. I was a consultant at the time, and during my routine working around, this is up in Portland, Oregon, I received a call, and the panic was the network is down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that comes in a variety of flavors. What exactly is network down? And they're like, no, we really can't do anything to any other computer or out to the internet. I'm like, oh, that's actually down. Okay, that's important. So
Mm-hmm.
I left the site I was on, booked it across town at the speed of a glacier because of traffic. And once I finally arrived, I entered the data closet, which I already knew fairly well, and I've always looked at it and went, I would really like to fix that, but I'm gonna have to take it apart for about an hour to 2 hours to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And then it broke. I'm like, well, I now have my justification to fix this mess. So
Mm-hmm.
in the photo, on the left is what I walked into, and on the right is what I left behind.
Wow.
At one point, I had unplugged every single one of these cat cables and had them at the floor at
Oh
my feet
God.
while I was
Yeah.
working. And you can see there's a bit of excess in there, one could gently say.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the company walks into the data closet, sees me with wires up to my knees, goes, would you like something to drink? I'm like, I would love some water, thank you. He just was like, I'm not even going to try to help here. There's no way. For those who are the inquiring mind of what happened in this special little scenario, is the third switch, the one that is down at the bottom of this rack here, would send data back and forth between other appliances, but would not talk to a switch after it.
Mm-hmm.
It took a minute to figure out which one was having a problem and what problem it was having.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the most satisfying as far as something I'd wanted to do for a long time. I wanted to clean up this wiring. I wanted to remove the excess wiring, and I wanted it tidy.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to do this, and when everything was stood up, running again, and it was running smooth, and everyone walked in, they kind of did like a tour of the data closet. I'm like, this isn't a very big room, but we'll do our best. We'll make it work. But everyone's like, wow, that's so cool. I'm like, I'm really glad I finally got this sorted. So this is
Yeah.
probably my favorite and fun tale because the owner walking in, he was like, "What?" And and then
Yeah.
get it done. And everyone's like, "Oh, this is wow!"
Yeah.
And especially with some of the engineers who worked at home, they looked at me and went, "How long?" I'm like, "You don't want that answer."
So it didn't take it took like what? Like I'm assuming like 4 hours to figure this
It took
out.
about three and a half, three,
Okay.
4 in that neck of the woods. I don't remember. I was not paying attention to time. I was just
Mm,
working on stuff, so
yeah.
I wasn't too focused on my watch. I was far more focused on re-racking this entire thing to get it to
Yeah.
play nice, look nice, and actually be serviceable down the road.
So the problem with this customer is that it's simply because there was one wire, one cord that wasn't communicating.
Well, one port. So
One
one
port.
cord. Yep.
Wow.
Because and with their network setup, and this isn't something I built. This is something I inherited as a consultant.
Hmm.
The only thing I could do was look at it and go, well, that's not going to work anymore. So
Yeah.
let's make it do the thing properly. So,
Right.
but
Oh.
those who have been in the data closet will appreciate the fact there's three switches in this uh
Mhm.
menagerie here, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a super fun story, Gina. And I think it kind of shows like I mean, like you don't really have to clean up everything, but you still do it, right? Because
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
No, there's no reason to just fix the problem. If I have the time and the justification and get the buy-in a little bit, like I would like to fix this and not just
yeah,
repair it. And
absolutely.
I got
Yeah.
the buy-in, and then, I'm going to go the extra step. That's just
Mhm.
how, I'm wired, and that's how we do. It's not a good enough. It's no, let's get this resolved. I don't want to
Yeah.
have this ever happen again for anyone.
Yeah. And I think that's like a mindset that a lot of people that I've spoken to in the Vectra support team has. It's like the going the extra mile. It's like not just, putting a band-aid on something, calling it a day. It's actually digging into the problem, fixing everything, and finding like all the kinks that needs to be like straightened out, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like is when I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, I don't care where it's broken. I don't, if it's something on Vectra, if it's on the network, it's not important where who did it. It's
Yeah.
how do we fix it? And that's really all my concern is when it comes to reviewing cases. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
let's get this sorted. And if it's, something that I need help with, then I will communicate and say I saw X, Y, and Z. Here's what I believe may be the problem, question mark. But,
Mhm.
when it comes to like remote networks, you don't even want to guess. You just I have seen this before, and this is
Yeah.
what has happened before. Um, if it matches, great. If not, also great because I have no idea how you're configured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for telling that story, Gina. That was really, really fun. My last question to you is sort of like Vectra centric here. What makes Vectra stand out in the market to you?
I think it is the extra step when it comes to the support team
Mm,
because we are wired this way. A lot of us are, and when we are bringing people on, we're looking for people who want to go in and go, okay, I see the error, but why? They want
hmm.
to understand the core of the concern. That way, we're not doing, as you said, the band-aid fix. We're doing,
Right.
a full repair or resolution.
Yeah.
And that's what I strive for whenever I'm working with anyone or anything is
Hmm.
let us get this back into the best possible shape we can so that this is no longer a concern, that this part of their entire network can go, okay, I don't have to worry about that. I still have routers, switches, and humans, but that part's fine.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a mindset that, extends even beyond just the support team at Vectra, right?
Mhm.
It's also in product management, it's in our engineering team, our sales team. It's like going that extra mile, the extra step, because we are a very customer first company, a very
So
smart group of people who think about the customers. It just builds a great product, right?
it's true. And I will say customer first is the big deal here. And it's
Yeah.
really nice to put something out there and say, hey, I think this is wrong, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure. And having different teams pop in and go, no, you may be onto something there. That may have some
Hmm.
that may have some that may have something to it. Let us dig in. And I love
Hmm.
that it doesn't matter where we experience a concern. I
Yeah.
love how quickly everyone is to work together
Hmm.
to figure out how we can make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, Gina.
Okay.
So I think that wraps up our segment here. Thank you so much, Gina, for your time and for sharing that awesome story and all your thoughts about Vectra and the support team. We do have a couple more videos from the support team. It's going to be on our podcast channel on our YouTube. We're also on Spotify as well if you want to follow us on there. And then, yeah, once again, thank you so much, Gina, and really appreciate your time. And yeah,
All right.
thanks,
Well, thank
everyone.
you and have a wonderful rest of your day.